Hey AfterBuzzers, today I am in studio with Kathrine Herzer. I know all you Madam Secretary fans are out there waiting. This will be a lot of fun. Don't go away.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
There it is! Thank you, I love it!
It's a little fainter than I expected.
Oh, there it goes. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Love, thank you.
I love it. I'm telling you, you cannot go wrong with lots of clapping. My
No,
favorite. So, Kathrine, thank you for joining me in studio today. Before we get started, where can everyone find you on social media?
You guys can find me on my Instagram, which is Kathrine_Herzer. And Kathrine, everybody, no E in the middle. I know it blows my mind every day. So it's Kathrine. And Herzer's Herzer. So.
And that's good. It's like a Where's Waldo? Where is the missing E?
Oh, it's actually funny because I had a math teacher in the 6th grade, and the entire year I just decided that I was giving up on correcting people. Like, I just didn't care anymore, and it didn't hurt my feelings. It was whatever. And so, like, 6-7 months into the semester, or to the year, she came up to me and she was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "Oh my God, did I cheat? Did I fail?" And she was like, "You've been letting me spell your name wrong this entire year." And I was like, "Yeah, what's the big deal?" And she's like, "Okay, bye." It was weird.
And there you have it. Kathrine is very laid back. I feel like, let's see if you notice. I'll just call you by a different name and see if you correct me.
Okay,
It'll be like
do
a
it.
game.
Let's try. Honestly, go for it.
And I am your host, Zoe Hewitt. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RealZoeHewitt. That's ZoeHewitt. Now, the moment I know everyone has been waiting for, Madam Secretary. I know. We need a drum roll, too.
Yeah.
And more clapping. You guys were recently picked up for a very exciting 4th season. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we've been picked up and we've started working on it. Yeah, we are into episode 3 now, and yeah, it's going great. We're super, super excited, and I don't know, I'm so happy to be back with the same crew members and cast that we've had for the last 4 years. That's such an amazing feeling. It I don't know, these are people that I know so well, and they're fun and they're interesting, and yeah, so it's really exciting.
And you've grown up with them. I mean, by now, 4 seasons in, knowing these people for a long time, that's a good chunk of time.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the show's sort of foundation is family values and balancing
Absolutely.
life and work life with family life. But for people who aren't as familiar with it, I know there are only maybe 1 or 2 out there. Why don't you...
Please, don't hurt my ego.
Why don't you give them a description and let them know where we're coming from?
Yeah, so Madam Secretary is about the Secretary of State and how she balances her work and her family. And she has sort of a very strong and enduring relationship with her husband. They're very communicative, and that sort of translates into all of the ways she deals with things, especially when it comes with dealing with her kids. I play one of her glorious 3 children. And yeah, it's a great mix of funny and really ridiculously smart, and yeah, it makes you think and it makes you feel, and it leaves you smiling at the end of watching it too, which I always love.
I was going to say, I think that's really important, that you can learn something, but also that feel-good element.
Totally.
And, of course, you're working with some amazing veteran actors, Leoni and Tim Daly.
Yeah.
So when you first heard about the project, when you first read for your audition, did you have any idea that they were already part of the show?
I knew that Taya was, but I had no idea that Tim was. And the funniest part about that is my mom had seen him at a dinner, or like had been at a dinner with him, and she was like telling me about the dinner, and I was like, Mom, I don't know about that Tim Daly guy. He just bugs me. He reminds me of my dad. Like, I don't like him at all. And then he turns out to literally be my dad on the show. And that, I always think that's the weirdest story. I tell him this story like once a week. I don't know why, just because like, it gives me chills. It's like the creepiest coincidence. She obviously had no idea either. And yeah, I got the show like a month after that. And he is so amazing. Like, he is above and beyond anyone I could have asked for. He has brought me into the creative coalition, and he's really like a dad to me.
And that's so nice because I think, especially you're one of 3 kids in the show world.
Yes.
I feel like, but
one of 5 in the real world.
but in the show world,
yes.
one of 3 kids, and so on set, I think there can also be a tendency of like, these are the kids and we're the adults, and there's our sort of line in the middle too.
For sure. I mean, for the first season, Evan was called boy and I was called girl. And that was funny, and it sort of translated into my like nickname from between me and like the camera guys, which is Deep Girl, because for the first few episodes I was always deep and I was always girl. So yeah, it's like those funny moments that still we laugh about today. Mm-hmm. Like, I am still Deep Girl, and Evan is still sometimes boy.
And Deep, like making deep comments. Is that where Deep came from?
If you want to give me that, I'll take it. But no.
So where did the deep come from?
As in the background. Because we have the way we like to film our show is that we like a lot of movement in our scenes, and that's because that's very real. Yeah. It's kids running around, and it's parents crossing and whatever. Mm-hmm. And so the first few episodes, I was always sulking at the dining room table. And so they put me at the dining room table, and they'd start on the other side and move in. So I was deep.
That's fabulous. And how did that feel for the ego, knowing that you guys didn't even have names?
Luckily, I had to sulk anyways. It just fed right into my character.
Because I feel like that could be a little bit... it could hurt your feelings a little.
Oh, of course. I mean, that's sort of the part of being a young actress. Everything hurts your feelings. I mean, that was such a learning curve for me. I felt everything on set. I felt when someone looked the other way and whatever. But they're great people. We do great work. I mean, you can't take it offensively because it's a part of a narrative. Mm-hmm. It's a part of a bigger idea and a bigger goal. So it's fun, even the smaller episodes where I'm not in it a lot, or the bigger ones where I'm in it a ton, it all levels out because it's the same people, and I know that it's all the same intention, and we all love each other so much.
And you're the daughter, so
like, I'm on it.
You're in like Flynn now. And so when you did hear that you were getting a name, was it like, yes?
Oh, no. I love Deep Girl. I love being Deep Girl.
Sad to say
don't take that. No, I loved the nickname because I feel like when you get a nickname, it means you've like made it with these people.
Yes.
Like boy, I would say, like he probably, there's no affection in that, but Deep Girl, especially today, like I love it. No, I love it. When Pete yells Deep Girl, move to the left, I'm like, whoop whoop.
That's me.
Yeah, that's me.
And it is funny because I do agree with you as a whole on nicknames. I always feel like you give nicknames to people you really care about. Otherwise, you call them by their name and you move on.
I have a friend who the first second she meets someone and she gives them a nickname. And to me, that's like disgraceful. Like, why would you lead someone on like that?
I know.
They think you're going to be their friend, and it's bullshit.
Yes.
You're just...
They're
one of the many.
Yes, you can't remember their name.
Yeah.
Deep Girl, you get me?
Okay, well, don't push that, because I am horrible with names. There are some people on the show that have been on the show for all 4 years, and I don't know their name. I know that they have 3 kids. I know that they live in Connecticut. I know that they are X, Y, and Z. But their names escape me.
Do they have good character names that you can use? Not that we want to call out these people whose names you don't know.
I know, like, the actors' names.
Wait, I thought that's what you meant. You don't know the actor names.
Oh, for the most part.
So wait,
there's
whose
a couple.
Names?
There's a lot of crew.
Oh, crew members.
There's a lot of crew.
I thought you meant, like, I don't really know the person who plays,
No.
Boy.
Joko, for the longest time, could not pronounce his name. So I'll admit that. But no, the characters, for the most part, I know, because I see them more. Because we do, like, the table reads every time and whatever else, and I see their name a lot. It's crew members.
And I feel like that's fair. There are like 150 people on a TV crew.
That's really generous of you. Thank you. Because most people will not extend this.
We'll keep it between us. Don't tell.
And the AfterBuzz watching community.
Exactly. Now, how would you describe the overall atmosphere on set? I mean, you are tackling, like you say, some more serious topics in a winds up happy type of feel.
Yeah.
But how would you describe the behind the scenes?
The behind the scenes, at least what I experience behind the scenes, is always really, really fun. I don't know. I love to joke around, and I love to laugh, and so does Taya, and so does Tim, and so does Evan, and so does Wallace. So, yeah, we're always talking in weird accents. We're always making inappropriate jokes. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a really, really great place to work.
And I always, like, I've worked with some shows that have done White House sets before, and I think they're insanely impressive to walk into. So the very first time that you got to see, like, the grand set,
Yeah.
what was your reaction?
It's crazy because no matter where we are, whatever we're shooting, our set designers are so incredible. Like, I go up to, we have, like, one woman who is our set designer, and I just give her this hug because I'm blown away by everything they do. The White House is impeccable. It's beautiful. And in our, like, family room, living room, kitchen, that was replicated from a townhouse that we shot in for the pilot. And it was more beautiful than the townhouse. It was unbelievable. So all of their work, the White House and stuff, I appreciate it all, but overall, the stuff that I see them do is really what blows my mind.
Really amazing. I mean, they do such a good job, I
Yeah.
think. And these sets are so beautiful.
Oh, and it's funny to walk behind them, too, like the White House one in particular, because you see these, like, trees and these, like, funny, just backdrops that look ridiculous, but then you see it on the show and you're like, oh my god.
That's right. Things in person don't look the same way they look on TV.
No.
Which I think is also so interesting sometimes on set, that some of those behind the scene things, like the sort of slightly blurry backdrop that on set or on screen, on your TV screen.
Well, we
looks
talk about
perfect.
that a lot because there's an interesting color thing with our show. So, like, we are getting bronzed the hell up. Like, you would think that I had just come back from, like, Turks and Caicos, from lying on the beach, and then you watch the show, and I look like I live in Antarctica. Like, I look like I have never gotten sun before, which is movie magic.
So you're saying just with the filters that the show uses, you guys have to bronze up extra just to appear
Normal. Yeah, just to appear healthy.
I like that. That's one of those things you didn't know. The
Things
more
you didn't know.
And that's the case for everyone. It's just the filter that's used for shooting.
I
guess
mean,
some people
I
more than
am
you.
super pale, and that, like, reads. So even if I slather on that dark foundation, it still doesn't always come through. But, like, Taya has, like, a little more olivey skin, so it's not as hard for her, and Tim especially, yeah. But, you know, it's a hard knock life.
Right, it's really hard working with those amazing makeup artists. That was me. So, speaking of these gorgeous sets, is there ever anything that you want to, or have you already, slipped into, like, your purse on the way home?
Some things that have fallen off the truck.
Well, you take the fifth. Hypothetically, is there anything that maybe is no longer
am I going
on
to get
set?
myself in trouble here?
It's a hypothetical, so no.
A pair of slippers once fell off the truck. Yes, I can say that for some reason they just happened to fall off the truck and into my purse, and I wear them.
What was so amazing about these slippers? I mean,
They
of
were-
all the things that you could take.
They were UGG slippers.
Oh. They're a really nice slipper.
They were really nice slippers, and I needed a pair.
And
I
did
don't
wardrobe
know.
ever say, oh, whatever happened to those slippers that Deep Girl was wearing?
No. They don't call me Deep Girl. Those are two worlds colliding.
that don't come together. So no one ever wondered, where did the slippers
I
disappear
guess
to?
not.
Have you had another pair appear on set for you? Have you worn a pair on the show since?
Well, the thing is, I go to college now.
Yeah.
So
they could be missing.
So, you know, my roommate stole them. I don't know. No, I have not seen another pair yet. But I haven't had a scene where I wear pajamas yet. So we'll see. Keep on
watching.
tuned. Yeah.
I feel like we need to write in, like, in a chat for the show. I really miss those Uggs. Can you bring them
All
back?
of a sudden, they're back on set.
And everyone's rushing around. Where'd the Uggs go? Bring them back.
They write like a flashback.
The flashback to the Uggs. Yeah. So the White House, as we're talking about too, is amazing. The real one is too. You guys do go to DC sometimes to work. Have you actually shot outside and around the White House?
I was not invited to that trip, but I have been to DC and I have been to the White House. I actually went to DC with Tim with the Creative Coalition, and we were lobbying to make sure that the NEA's funding wasn't cut. So yeah, so I have been to Capitol Hill and all that stuff, but in a different sort of aspect. Yeah.
Because I've heard for shooting around the White House, they do extensive like background checks. They keep it really small, and it seems like a big deal to me. I
don't think we shot by the White House. I think we shot by like the monuments. I don't know what the I could be totally wrong.
We won't hold you.
I feel like you're like fact checking.
Yes. I'm about to Google that. Please keep talking. Who was at the White House?
I'm not gonna give my exact answer on that because I'm not sure.
You take the fifth, along with anything that fell off the
where
truck.
we shot in DC, I take the fifth.
And speaking of taking the fifth, so the show, of course, by nature of being Madam Secretary, is political, but you also have been really involved with a lot of causes. Do you think this is sort of a nature versus nurture? Is this something that growing up you were always told people are supposed to get involved, or do you think being on the show has contributed to that?
No, I think it's being 19, starting college, working on a show where everyone's very vocal and has a lot of opinions, and having people like Tim around me who care so much and work so hard to make sure that other people get the rights that a lot of us have, that I certainly got as a child. So I think it's a collision of a lot of things. This was the first election that I could vote in, and I took that very seriously. And obviously I was devastated. But it's cool to be on a political show where the issues are being discussed in a reflective way and in a what can we do next way? How can we push this boundary? How can we use the political climate today and sort of teach people about what's really going on, or try to like help people see a different aspect of it. So I'm really excited about this season in regard to that. I think that Barbara wrote a beautiful, beautiful first episode that I really cannot wait for everyone to see. And I think it's what we all need to be watching, because, it's hard to understand all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world, and this is sort of a way to take a breath, go into fiction land, and see something that might give us a little more perspective.
Yeah, and that's a good way of putting it too. And I think that also, the show, like you say, as a whole, like from the top down, has a lot of opinions. So you guys also participated in the Women Walk Out right back in March, which is where women walked out, for anyone who doesn't know.
Yes, we did participate in the Women Walk Out, and we also went collectively as a show to the Women's March. That was one of the that changed my entire life. Being able to get on a bus with all of my female actors and crew and some men, and stand together and march for everything that we care about, the rights that we need to make sure we keep and continue to get, was amazing. And it shows we are a politically conscious group of people. We want people to know that we're not oblivious to what's going on in the world, and we think about it and we care so much about it, and we want our show to reflect that as best we can.
Yeah, which I think is important to balance, right, the real world with the fictional that you guys are creating, too.
Yeah.
And you guys actually shoot in New York, which I feel like is also known for, not like DC politics, but clearly still within that same political arena. You're not out in, like, Timbuktu.
Exactly. It's a very conscious place, and that's where sort of the nature versus nurture kind of comes together. The nature of where I was and starting college at NYU and hearing everyone was very vocal. I had classes where we would discuss what was going on in the election and talk about why certain things would happen and why other things were happening. I was actually taking a media studies class, and a lot of it goes into like stereotypes of women in the past and what those words are that are used to sort of keep women in their corner, and what sort of men use instead. And to learn about those things. I'm so grateful I had that class at that time because I was able to read the article and watch the news and go, well, that was a sexist thing to say. That was because you're drilling this because she's a woman. Whereas, like, before, when I was in high school in the 08 election, or in elementary school in the 08 election, I was not a fan of Hillary's at all. I bought into the shrillness and the bitchiness and all of that because I had no idea that those words were very intentionally used against women and something that I was a part of.
Right. And it is interesting, like, that certain words are used for certain genders.
Yeah.
And that they have very different connotations.
Yeah, like the word bossy.
Yes. Jinx.
Yes, exactly.
I went to an all-women's university, so I'm with you there.
Yeah, my mom said that the other day. She was like, someone called me bossy, and I was like, stop. Like, stop the presses. Like, that is exactly the problem. Like, if you were a man, no one would have ever said that to you.
Exactly. If you're a man, you're a leader or you're assertive, but you're not
strong.
bossy. Yes.
Yeah, you're
very
impressive.
Different. Yes. So when you had to choose NYU, or when you had to choose a school, I guess I should say, you actually grew up out here in Los Angeles. The show was shooting in New York, and that was part of your decision making, right, for deciding on NYU.
Yeah, I mean, there was no question. I was definitely going to go to college, and Columbia is hard. It's a lot of work. And I wanted something that would sort of, because I wanted to go to college to learn. I didn't need a degree. I'm an actress. It's not necessary, per se. I think it is necessary because I think to be an actor, you have to know a lot of things about a lot of different kinds of people and areas of life and whatever, and the best way to do that is going to college. And so I thought NYU, and I had heard a lot of people that had gone to Gallatin, so I chose Gallatin. And so now I'm in the School of Individualized Studies, which sounds very lofty and confusing, and it's been amazing. Yeah, I'm creating my own path and learning so much about myself and what I want to do in the future.
Which is, I think, exactly what college is for. And you had a really fascinating experience because your senior year in high school is when you were originally cast, right? So you were flying back and forth every week?
Yeah, well, it was very, very important. I was never homeschooled growing up, even though I acted for a long time. And it was very important for me to go to prom, graduate with my high school, and not do anything else. But obviously I was on a show, and I was very, very happy to be on the show, and that was my job. And my school was very, very generous with me, and they told me if you could be here in the classrooms for XYZ. I mean, it's senior year, and a lot of kids tap out, so they were like, if you want to be here, if you want to do it, you can. And I said, I definitely do. So, I would fly back and forth every week from New York to the set. Like, I would finish shooting on a Thursday night and get on a plane, get there Friday morning and go right to school.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that is intense. No, I get it. You leave Thursday, you go to school.
Yeah, I would leave Thursday, get to school on Monday, and just go.
Wow.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do it any other way. It was amazing.
And so I've also heard, I feel like from a lot of actors who have had to sort of go through similar things, that it seems like it can go one of two ways, where your classmates either wind up picking on you because there's something different, or where your classmates can be very embracing and like, hey, that's my friend. So what was the experience that you had? I mean, high school can be rough regardless.
Oh, high school. High school is sort of different. I mean, I never really had it that easy in high school. There were always like weird people talking and saying things, and that was its own sort of beast. So by the time I hit senior year, it was like everything was noise. And when I got to college, I don't know, I like to keep my head down when it comes to the show and stuff, when it comes to the show in social settings. I've had friends that didn't even know I was an actress. It's important for me not to get it too muddled, because people do look at it a little differently sometimes. But yeah, and I've had teachers be like, oh, Kathrine's on the show, Madam Secretary, and it like really comes back to bite me in the ass, so I never appreciate that sort of stuff. But yeah, otherwise, my friends are all really, really understanding, and everyone kind of has their own deal, and especially at NYU, or where I am at NYU, everyone is so driven that they just want to work on whatever they want to work on, and they're super collaborative. So I've been really lucky to find a group of people that I like want to make shorts with and, like, explore other aspects.
And I mean, to me, that makes sense, because if you were at school, like in the classroom, excuse me, everybody, let me make an announcement.
That is
probably not going to go over so well.
Not my style.
A little awkward.
It's definitely a little awkward.
But speaking of shorts, you were working next semester. You've got a really cool class where you are working on some really neat shorts,
I'm so excited.
right?
Yeah, so a group of friends and I, we came up with this concept for a class, and it's sort of based on adaptation, and you can take poems or short stories and make those into whatever short you'd like. So I'm taking Shel Silverstein poems and making them into like a little short story.
So are you combining multiple poems to create like a through line? Is that...
Yeah, because at first I was thinking about taking one and making it bigger, but I found sort of like a beautiful way of connecting them that sort of was true to myself, and so that's what I'm going to do.
Well, it sounds like a neat project.
Yeah, so hopefully I can, like, distribute it to the world. And that's also what Gallatin's really good about. They want you to, like, release your work and do whatever you have to do with it.
Wherever it may go.
Wherever it may go. AFTERBUZZ is the first place you'll find it.
Exactly. So... Also, like, along these lines, you did a really cool internship with the former Vice President, Al Gore, for the Climate Reality Project. So how did you get involved? How did you get that really cool internship?
Yeah, I was in high school as my sophomore year. I just applied to it, and I got it. And, yeah, it was amazing. I was in D.C. That was the first time I had ever spent time in D.C., and I lived there for a month. And I first went to his like summit meeting where he does this amazing presentation and does his slides and goes through all of the reasons why climate change is so dangerous and needs to be dealt with now. And then I worked in his office, and I would go through those slides, come up with data, and sort of just learn more. Yeah. But it's amazing. He's the best person ever. I adore him. Yeah, he's a beautiful soul, and I am so grateful everything that he does for climate change. And the last time I saw him was at the Climate March, which it was great because I was with the Creative Coalition lobbying, and then the next day was the Climate March, so I got to be with Climate Reality there, and then that night was the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and that was the first time I'd ever been to the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which was also so cool.
So it sounds like a really amazing couple of events back to back.
I know. It was like this one weekend that sort of fell into a million great things that I didn't realize were going to happen. It was really luck that sort of strung that weekend together.
And the first time you met him, do you have any vivid memories of either being tongue-tied or saying exactly what you wanted to?
Always tongue-tied. Always tongue-tied. No, I don't think I said anything. I think I was like, hello. No, I never say the right thing, ever.
No, I'm Kathrine without the E.
Oh, actually, I should honestly start doing that as my new thing, like Kathrine with no E.
Yes.
That would be really scary.
The hand was out, and all of a sudden I was like, do I shake? I felt like it was a shake
moment,
and then I felt like I left you hanging
Not
just
the
now.
first. Do you want to do it again?
Thank you.
Kathrine with no E.
Nice. I just all of a sudden felt to me like I left her hanging right there.
No need to feel guilt. It's not the first time, won't be the last time.
Okay, then. Now, you have been acting since you were 6 years old, so clearly not like, this isn't, your first rodeo, and you've done a lot, but is there anything that you'd like to do in the future? Something that stands out to you specifically as a goal?
Honestly, I have no goals for the future. I'm probably just, this is going to be it. I'm going to throw in the towel.
Way to make my question sound bad.
No, I have so many things. I'd love to do something action. I'd love to do something period. I don't know. I want to do everything. Like, I want to do acts. Like, I love to do, like, a period piece where I have to do a different accent or, like, I don't know. I love everything. Like, people think that's ridiculous whenever I say that, but I don't know. I grew up and my favorite movies were, like, Dirty Dancing and He's Just Not That Into You and High School Musical 2, which I was watching just before I came here. And so I don't know. Like, I I wish that I sang so I could do something like that in Chicago and whatever else. But no, I'd love to do a little bit of everything.
What about being in New York Broadway, do you think? A non-singing Broadway role might be then in your future?
I mean, I would love to do a play. I really wish that I could sing. I sing badly, if that counts. Like, if there's a role where you have to sing badly. There are a couple, I think.
There are some.
Then, yeah,
You
call
could
me
find-
up. I would put my cell number, but that would be dangerous.
It might be. But there are some, and you could write it as maybe part of your project. Maybe there's like a Shel Silverstein-esque singing badly type.
I could, if anyone could, it's me. This is probably the most ridiculous thing you'll ever hear. I was like walking around the Grove, and they have a cheesecake factory there. And my friends and I are obsessed with the Cheesecake Factory because of their delicious brown bread.
Yes, it's my favorite.
Thank you.
Hello. I know, I love it. And I call it brown bread too.
Yes.
Because it's not pumpernickel, but I don't think it's
brown
wheat.
bread.
I don't know what it is.
It's sweet and just
amazing.
delicious.
Yes.
If you haven't had it, go there immediately.
Yes.
It's so good. So I was like started to write a musical about brown bread. I was literally like, you like brown? I can't believe I'm going to do this right now. You like brown bread? I like brown bread. It's like a romance, and then they're like, we like brown, and then they fall in love, and it's like, yeah.
They fall in love over the bread, or the bread falls in love with the sourdough?
No, that would be some weird sort of mixing of whatever.
A mixing of breads.
Yeah, it's gross. That was gross what you just said.
The sourdough is like what you eat when you're waiting for a refill on the brown bread.
It's like, so please no one steal my idea.
No one's
being really generous. So my idea is that they're on like a blind date, and they go and they're meeting each other on the blind date, and then they're like, she's like, brown bread, please, and he's like, you like brown bread? I like brown bread, and that's sort of how they begin to like each other.
I love it. It's a hit.
Thank you.
For sure. For sure.
It's ridiculous.
No, keep us posted. We at AfterBuzz will travel to you on Broadway when it's there. I feel like maybe you should talk to the writers on the show, because...
Oh, my mom has a laundry list of Allison ideas. First off, kidnapping. Second off, I develop an app. And then I get a spin-off.
That's right. Madam Secretary's daughter.
My mom comes up with the best, most ridiculous things.
Well, I feel like a spin-off is very possible because Chelsea Clinton has not shied away from the spotlight.
Hello.
You are the Chelsea.
I wish, but on our show, I'm not the Chelsea.
But you kind of are.
The older sister would probably be the Chelsea.
No.
But, you know, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe
No.
I can be the Chelsea.
You can be the Chelsea.
I can be the Chelsea if I want to be the Chelsea.
That's what I'm saying.
Why am I limiting myself? Of course I can be the Chelsea if I want to be the Chelsea.
See, you said no goals.
See, I had no goals before I came in here. You've inspired me. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Now, one final note before we wrap up. I was searching through your Instagram, and I was, enjoying all the photos. And there's this one of you, I don't know how old you were, like maybe 6, I don't know, on like wearing Grinch pajamas on what looks like a private airplane.
Oh my God.
Where were you?
Yeah, I love this picture. I was like with family and stuff, and yeah, those were my favorite pajamas. I was like obsessed with them when I was little. I like wore them a lot, I think, until they just got really heavily stained. But I still think we have them somewhere, so stay tuned for that.
The sentimental PJs.
I thought you were gonna bring up a different Instagram.
Oh, which one?
I thought you were gonna. There's one Instagram where I am taped. Just there's construction tape across my chestises, and I went like that to an event. So I had a jumpsuit over it, but yeah, it made me feel like a bionic woman, and that's when like I was sure that I could play a superhero.
Well, that does make me say, I feel like this is now my true confession. So when I was
this interview feels like my true confession.
When I was looking through, there's one of you holding a puppy up. And, like, really close to, like, and, the puppy's, like, dangling down the rest of the puppy.
And his wee-wee showing.
Well, actually, I was, like, staring at it, like, is that her? I don't know what it was. My brain had trouble, like connecting that was the puppy. I was like, does she not have a shirt on? That's what I was thinking. And I'm telling you, I looked at that photo for so long, and I was like, what is happening in this photo?
Oh my God, I love that you thought that.
I thought you were wearing maybe one of those shirts that, like how they have those
the fake, the fake, like the ones with the hairy guy's chest. Oh my God, I wish.
And then I was like, no, I'm pretty sure that's the puppy. But I mean, so long. I was like, what is happening?
What's amazing about that is like my friend whose dog that is, has a phobia of like his majig, like in pictures or like in anything, and I'm like, who cares? It's a dog. Like, what are you being so weird for? And she like didn't want me to post that picture because it was so visible. And I went in too and I like blurred it.
And I didn't notice that. Maybe that's part of what made the whole thing.
Well, I didn't blur it enough. Well, I wasn't gonna like take it away like Kyle XY or whatever. Like weird skin.
That is fabulous. Okay, now I know everyone wants to know, where can they find these photos on Instagram? So remind everyone, Kathrine, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me at Kathrine_Herzer. And again, that's Kathrine with no E in the middle. In the middle, not at the end. That's a problem I have trouble with.
You have an E at the end.
Yes.
And I am your host, Zoe Hewitt. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RealZoeHewitt. That's ZoeHewitt. You can also find me on YouTube at Zoe Hewitt Hosting, where I do a weekly movie analysis show. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Bye. See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.